Sustainable Japan. I'm in Japan, but my usual partner in short takes is not. So I'm JJWalsh in Hiroshima, Japan today, joined by.
Hi, I'm Tove Kinooka. Usually I'm in Yokohama, Japan, but today I'm coming to you from rural Suffolk in the southeast of England.
How's the weather? You said it's a bit cooler than
Lovely.
Japan.
It's really lovely. It's maybe sort of low 20s at the moment, not humid. So I'm really appreciating the break from the heat actually in Japan. I know
Yeah.
it's very hot there at the
I,
moment.
I grew up in Hawaii, and people always ask me, "Oh, is the winter really hard in Japan?" And I
Mm,
just came back from Hawaii last week, and that's the place to go to cool off. It's a lot cooler in Hawaii than
right.
Japan,
Yeah.
right?
Mm,
So I'll
yeah.
start. I'll start with some summer survive the summer tips. So in the back of my scarf, I always reuse these ice packets, and then
Fantastic.
if
Yeah.
you're out and
Mm,
about, it's a great tactic to have this nice cool pack at the back of
yeah.
your neck. And I've been for tours, I don't do many summer tours, it's so hot.
Mm,
But when I do summer tours, I'm reusing a lot of these packs that you get, when you get cakes in
yeah.
Japan, they give you the packs inside if
Yeah.
you've got
Little ice
like
packs.
10
Yeah.
minutes to go home or something. But you can reuse them over and over again. And I take them in a cool bag for my guests. And then
Hmm.
I encourage them to have a towel or a tenugui.
Yeah.
Tenugui is such a nice thing in Japan. You can use it for
Right.
everything, and they're
Yeah.
so cute, right? So they're just
Right.
basically like cotton material, and you can put these cold little ice packets inside and keep it at the back of your neck or wrap it around your wrist.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
remember years ago watching, was it Steel Magnolias? And Julia Roberts was talking about they were filming it in summer, but it was supposed to be winter.
Ah,
And she was putting ice packs on her wrist.
right.
And
Because it's
that
a pulse point, right?
right?
Mm,
And so
mm,
that's such a good advice to keep it on a pulse point. Back
yeah.
of your neck just makes you feel better too, right?
Hmm.
And another tip, a lot of visitors to Japan, they always say, why do the toilets not have any paper towels? And I think my theory is that before COVID, we were trying to reduce waste. So we got rid of the
Hmm.
paper towels, we added the air dryers, but then COVID
Yep.
happened, we got rid of the air dryers. So now, don't you find, Tova, in Japan,
Yeah.
most people just carry around one of these
Yeah.
little towels and you dry your own hands after. And so I always encourage guests to buy one of these cute little towels. These are from Muji. Muji's a great shop where you can also, Muji, refill your water bottles, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, it's brilliant. And those little towels, it's funny because after many, many years of living in Japan, that's become such an ingrained habit. That when I'm traveling around Europe here and anywhere outside Japan, I've always got my stash of little towels. I always have one in my bag, and the looks I get when I go to a public toilet and then I'm washing my hands and then I bring out my own little towel. People kind of look and you think, see them thinking, oh, what is she doing? But actually, that's a good idea. And they're looking around for somewhere to dry their hands on, and there's nowhere, or
No,
somebody's using it already. So it's such a simple but such a good idea,
it
and it's not
is.
creating waste or
Yes.
using electricity. So
Yes.
yeah,
One thing that I do find still in the restrooms is no soap.
yes,
Why
yeah,
public restroom, no soap? That's gross. So I haven't figured out an easy way to carry around a little soap.
hmm, hmm,
But if anybody has any advice about that, I'd love to hear it because
yeah,
that's something. If I'm with guests as well, you want to
mm,
be able to offer them soap. Of course, I
yeah,
know the nicer restrooms on the route, and they definitely have soap. But these are things, little things, but it makes a
mm,
difference, especially they do have colds because we're going in and out of hot and cold all the
yeah,
time, right?
mhm, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point.
Hello. Hey, great to see you, Natasha. Wonderful to see you. So nice you can join us live. And we're just starting out with some tips for hot weather, but Tova is enjoying some cooler weather for
Yes,
a little while. Yeah,
yes, very much enjoying the respite. So yeah.
that's great. Let's talk about yesterday or two
Hmm.
days ago. I had a great conversation with Brig D. Reed, who is the co founder of World Vegan Travel.
Oh, wow.
And she had some great insights on doing these wonderful tours, even safari tours in Africa. And it's because it's an all vegan kind of luxury level tour. One of the big points of appeal for people is you just don't have to do all the hard work of research yourself before you
Right.
go on these tours. Everything's organized. You know you're going to get great food. All the catering that usually you have to negotiate every meal as you're traveling. And they do come to Japan. They've got a great tour, which also comes to Hiroshima. So it was wonderful talking to her and getting her insights. And then, of course, a lot of travel around the world, like even safaris, usually it seems exploitative of animals. But as a vegan tour, they always try to do like conservation, advocacy, and responsibility as part of their tour.
Yeah.
So they often donate money as well as visit like shelters for stray animals, or instead of riding elephants, they will go to the elephant conservation area,
That's
right?
so much better. Yeah.
So I really feel, and she was interviewed also for the New York Times as part of the responsible travel. So when we're talking about sustainable travel, definitely these kind of planners who are creating this wonderful package, which is all inclusive of more ethical experiences, as well
Yeah.
as more sustainable eating as sustainable travel. It's just really exciting to hear a lot of
Yeah.
these insights. Yeah.
That's really encouraging to hear, I think, because it's always difficult, if you go on a tour or something like that, or any kind of package where, the assumption is that you'll just sort of eat whatever's there. And if you're going as a vegetarian or vegan, that's not easy sometimes, particularly in certain countries where there's not so much of a sort of a culture of that kind of eating style. That it's really encouraging to hear that more is happening on that.
Yeah. And even like yesterday's group, they were a family from Washington State. They weren't vegetarians, but they don't eat pork. And so
Right.
at the okonomiyaki place, it made sense to order the okonomiyaki, which was the vegan option. And
Yeah.
then they wanted to add shrimp. And so I had to negotiate with the staff. And they're like, wait, you ordered the vegan one, but wait, you want
But you
shrimp?
want
And I was
shrimp?
like, it's pork. It's a pork problem. And
Yeah.
pork is in so much of Japanese food.
Yes,
And
that's very true.
more than half the world does not eat pork. So this is a big issue for tourism
Yeah.
industry. But having that vegan option as a foundation is
Yeah.
such a really good resource, right?
Yeah. And it's a really, important opportunity, great opportunity for education, right? To build awareness of different practices around food and the reasons behind that, whether those are cultural or ethical or health related. It's really helpful to build that knowledge and spread that.
Yeah. I'm jealous of where you are. You're in like one of the most vegan friendly countries of the world right now. Have you been enjoying some local food?
I've been sort of at my sister's place since I arrived. I don't think we've had a meal out yet. I only got here a couple of days ago.
I'm
But
dying to try
there's
that
so
place
many
in
options.
London that has vegan fish and chips. So
Oh,
someday I will find that. I saw it on a TV show. I hope it's still open. I
we have to
want to
send me
make my
links. I'll
way.
be in London in week after next. So
Oh, okay. I'll try
see if
to
I can
find
find
the
it.
link and add it for you. Great. Now you were at the fabric event. Tell us
Yes.
about that.
So Fabric is sort of communications and sustainability focused sort of branding and market research agency in Japan. I think you've interviewed James Hollow, the founder, before on your longer program. So they are a certified B Corp for Benefit Corporation. And they are sort of working on building awareness of B Corp here in the UK at the moment, but in Japan. And so they've been holding sort of these regular events where they get sort of locally certified B Corps to come and share their story and invite people to just come and hear about that if they're curious about B Corp and want to learn more. So it was great. It was the first one that I'd managed to get along to. And there were 4 companies talking about their journey of becoming B Corp certified, why they decided to do it, what the benefits were for them. But what I found most encouraging was that they were all small organizations, a lot of them sort of similar to us, really small companies. Because I guess I had an image in my head that you needed to be a sort of certain size of company really for it to make sense. And I know that the process of getting the certification is pretty tough. There's a lot of paperwork involved. You've got to be able to measure and track all your, sort of waste and carbon, and you need to have people policies, sort of around DEI and all of these things that a lot of very small companies maybe sort of struggle to get all of that together. So it was really interesting to hear about the 4 small companies talking there, about the fact that actually they'd managed to do this. And to get B Corp certification, you have to get a minimum of 80 points out of the total, I think 200 and something. But you, and then each year or each sort of time you recertify, you should be aiming to sort of increase that number. So a lot of them had started with just over 80, 81, 82, whatever. But that's enough to get them started on that journey. And then they can continually look for improvements in the way they're doing their business and how they're operating internally as an organization as well. A lot of them talked about the fact that, it's a differentiator in the market to show that they're a responsible business. So customers or clients like that, and they're able to tell that story. But also internally, a lot of them said it was the first time, as a small organization, they'd really thought about the internal environment, because so much focus when you've got a very small team is all about, trying to make the business function. You don't maybe have a lot of bandwidth or sort of experience even in actually, what is our working culture like when there's only a very small team? And, do we have sort of solid policies around inclusion and making sure that we're being fair and we have, sort of a good quality of working environment. So for a lot of them, it was the first time they'd really looked inside at what they were doing and that internal environment, and they came out, people inside the company got really engaged with that, really enjoyed it, and it was an opportunity to really sort of build stronger as a team around the purpose and the values of their organization. So really, really positive and encouraging stories. So if you're in the Tokyo area, look out for those events from Fabric, because they do them fairly regularly, and a lot of learnings.
That's so good. And there's so much activity that Fabric is doing as a business,
Yes.
which is really on the kind of the edge of what is possible in
Yeah.
Tokyo. So I did
Yeah.
a series of short videos with James. He was so gracious to just stand there and do explanation videos with me. But they're
Yeah.
doing so much. Like they're doing worm
Brilliant.
composting. They're also trying the compost bags. They're also doing all these different kinds of reuse of every kind of package.
Yeah.
I mean, they're such an inspiration. And
Yeah.
they're doing
Yeah.
these events to pass on the knowledge about third-party certification, which
Yeah.
is so important in terms of trust, building
Yes.
trust in the public, and learning, like you said, taking the learnings, developing as a business to
Yeah.
always reassess and improve. That's such
Yeah.
an important part of sustainable business.
Very much so. And I love the fact, with the B Corp certification, it's not that you get it once and then you're done. You have to keep sort of, getting it re-verified to keep it valid. So you can't just sort of tick the boxes once and say, oh, okay, we're done now and forget about that. It's actually, no, this has got to be very much internalized and very much become part of how you operate as an organization. So it really raises the bar, I think, both for sort of thinking about and understanding your impact as a company on your people internally, but also on the outside world on sort of people and planet as well. So really, yeah, good to
And
see.
I'm so encouraged to see more and more travel companies are also getting B Corp
Yes.
certified, which is wonderful. So hopefully that'll also put pressure on having more refill spots around.
Yes.
Right? Like as part of your tour, as part of your recommendations to customers, please, you maybe give them the merch, give them the reusable bottle, suggest my Mizu, right? So those
Yeah.
things are definitely related to sustainable travel, and definitely something B Corp is going to help them develop, right?
Very much. Yeah. And there's a great comment from Natasha in the chat right now. The almond milk that she drinks is certified B Corp. So you can look out for this. Like you said, it's around trust, right? You can understand that this organization has, a certain level of integrity and is conscious of their impact and trying to continually improve that. So it's something you can look out for. The little capital B in a circle on a product sort of shows you that they are actually taking steps in the right direction.
That's awesome. Speaking of sustainability, as we often are, tomorrow I'm talking with Josh Tickel, who is a filmmaker. He made the documentary films Common Ground and a previous film, Kiss the Ground, I believe. So
Yes,
it's all about
Mm-hmm.
regenerative agriculture, using like regenerative no-till practices to keep the long root system. You know, it's more captures more carbon, but it also hand in hand with how we incorporate grazing animals, that kind of thing. So I'm really excited to talk to him because this is one of the topics that when I was doing my master's in sustainable tourism, the whole idea about soil and how rich and diverse soil is, but how adding pesticides is killing it. And if the soil dies, we die. Like we are soil. And that whole idea that even water, the water we're drinking is the same water from the dinosaurs. Like
Yes.
there is no new water, you know, there is
It's
no
all
new
just going around
soil.
in a circle.
And it just blew my mind, you know, and so I'm so grateful for filmmakers like him who are helping spread the message more widely. So really looking forward to talking to him tomorrow. If anyone's free, please join us. We'll be talking live as well.
Fantastic.
Now let's talk about oceans. You were connected with the SEGO event on the summary. Tell us about that.
So SEGO, as you know, Alana Bonzi's organization based in Fujisawa. Excuse me. Oh, that's the fabric event, that one still, I think.
Sorry.
So the SEGO event was doing a recap. Sorry, my voice is going now. Must be the flight's catching up with me. Doing a recap of the UN Ocean Summit, which was held recently in Nice in France, which is sort of bringing together world leaders. And you can see on this little summary piece here, they had sort of around 60 heads of state showing up there, which was really encouraging to see, along with world-leading scientists on ocean science, climate science, a lot of NPOs working in this area, and Oceana is one of those, an advocacy organization, international advocacy organization focused on ocean conservation. So our two speakers, Sonia and Rhea, were from there, one based in the US, one based in the Philippines. They were at the summit, so they were sort of talking about their takeaways from that, what it was actually like on the ground, what were the wins and what were maybe the things where it didn't sort of reach expectations. So it was encouraging, they were saying, to see the atmosphere was really positive. They had, all of these people from all over the world coming together from lots of different sectors. And she said both of them said there was a really sort of positive atmosphere, and the scientists felt they were actually being heard, which I think at a lot of these big events, it's sort of all the noise is around perhaps the politicians, the scientists sort of don't always get sort of listened to as much as they should do. This time the science was very much sort of up front and center, properly listened to. So it was encouraging to see that. There was good progress on things like the High Seas Treaty, which is looking at, so the high seas are all the areas that are not under the jurisdiction of a specific country, right? Sort of all that sort of, the much of the ocean in the world is not sort of under the control of a particular country, which means
crazy. Like I interviewed Ian Urbina, who wrote The Outlaw Ocean. It's all about that, right? How there's no jurisdiction. Human rights problems, pollution problems, overfishing problems, and who's policing it? Like, whose rights are they? It's everybody's, but then there's nobody's at the same time, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, the idea of the High Seas Treaty is that countries come together, they agree that, how are we going to manage this together? How do we collaborate to make sure that the people's rights, the ocean itself has been not overexploited. Well, it has been, but how do we work to restore the ocean health? Because it's in the interest of everyone, right? There's one ocean, it's all interconnected, and this affects us all. So it was encouraging to see that there have been a significant number of countries sign up to that. They need, I think, 10 or 11 more now to get to the level where it will then move into ratification. And then we can hopefully get some solid policies and policing and action, most importantly, on that. So that was encouraging to see. They were also talking about the deep sea mining, which links to another thing I'll talk about in a minute, and how, just the horrendous impact of that I think people, until very recently, there's been very little talk about deep sea mining and really the terrible impact of that, bottom trawling as well. So all of these things that happen under the surface of the sea that, for many years we haven't really paid much attention to, but now we're beginning to really understand the impact this is having.
Yeah. There's a lot of that idea that the ocean is too big to fail.
Right.
But
it's not. There
failing.
are dead zones.
We know it's, and it's, once again, the ocean is not healthy. We're not healthy. We got no future. It captures so much carbon. It produces so much oxygen. It creates a lot of our rainfall, right? That circular system. There's so much we don't understand about the deep sea. It's kind of like, it makes me think when they were just getting rid of all the marshlands. They were getting rid of all the mangroves. They were just planting. These are empty areas. We want to use them. We want to put them to good use, right? And then you realize, no, wait, they have really important use for and it's like killing off a whole species of animals. Same. Why not? Get rid of them, oh dear, that was bad to do. It's like mining the bottom of the ocean. We don't see it as anything valuable, but we know now more and more it is.
It's absolutely part of an ecosystem. It's very delicately balanced, and we have already completely upset that balance. And now the focus needs to be on, well, how do we restore that? What do we need to be doing here? And you can see this next part, Japan's going to be begin test mining in January for rare earth minerals and deep sea mining, despite the fact that we know this is a really harmful practice. And you can understand, okay, from a sort of national security point of view or economic point of view, that, with EVs, we need more sort of rare earth minerals and things for EVs and batteries and stuff like that, which are part of the climate change solution side of things. But if in the process we are causing such massive destruction, that's not working. We've got tunnel vision here, and we really need to be looking at this as an ecosystem and understanding that, that does not justify sort of ripping up the seabed and all the disruption to the ecosystems there. So I think at the moment, a lot of that talk is still within the scientific community. It needs to get out more. So it was really encouraging to see that in the Japan Times there, sort of raising the issue. But it looks like it is going ahead, unfortunately. I would love to see that conversation brought up to a high level. And
it would be good if it goes ahead slowly. And then you have chance to reassess and to collect data and to find out if it is damaging and how much damage, and talk to experts and reassess, can we limit the damage? So even though it's going ahead, hopefully it will go ahead thoughtfully.
I hope so.
Right?
I hope so. And it is a sort of a test session. So hopefully, looking, like you say, sort of assessing really the impact versus, the benefits from this. But also, I think we need to be looking at alternate sources. We've got, we spoke in last month's session about e-waste and the fact we've got all fast tech, which contains a lot of the things that we're looking for. Actually, a lot of it's already in our systems. If we can, sort of set up the infrastructure and the mindset for people to realize that if we can recapture a lot of what's already in circulation, and move to that circular model,
And
we
then that
don't need.
also goes to management and design, which and I know from visiting the zero waste town of Kamikatsu,
Mm,
and how if you can get the designers to create a design which can
mm,
be taken apart and parts, that are different materials taken apart so they can
mm,
be reused and actually recycled,
exactly. Yeah,
that's massive. So if
yeah.
we already have all these rare minerals
Mm,
in products, if we start designing them so they can be reused again, or
exactly.
like, let's
Yeah,
talk about what we already have and
yeah.
reuse, and
And
that
there
would
are some
save money
companies
and save
doing
the
this.
environment,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We just need more sort of investment in that technology, in those processes. It's already happening. There are, companies innovating. And I remember a few years ago going to a conference in Kitakyushu around sustainability and talking to a little local company down there that was doing this. They were, bringing back sort of tech products and dismantling them, and they were setting up that sort of infrastructure to actually to do this. So it's possible. We know it's possible. It needs more investment and it needs scaling.
Absolutely. And I definitely understand the drive for rare
Mm,
minerals, because we do need them for all the clean tech
absolutely.
and all the
Yeah,
everything that we need. It's such an important part. But
exactly. But it's
China,
not clean tech if it comes
right,
from a
yeah.
disruptive
China
source.
is like
Yeah.
basically
Mm,
controls all the rare minerals.
yeah,
And so that's also a safety issue for a lot of
very
countries
much.
trying to develop their own,
Mm,
but have to rely on a resource which is
mhm,
sometimes unreliable or unethical,
mm.
right? So
Yeah, yeah, very much.
lots of big questions there, but definitely something we want to keep talking about.
Yes, very much so.
Now, one thing that, of course, just happened in Japan was we had a
Mm,
big election. And two kind of notable things. It's Japan First. The Sanseito Party emerged as a powerful force in the upper house. They won 14 seats. And so they're now the fourth largest opposition party, and will have some influence, maybe
mm.
good and bad. They got a lot of people to vote.
Yeah.
But it was a very Japanese first, anti-foreigner sentiment that came out and rallied a lot of people. Of course, building on the momentum from what's happening in America
Mm,
now with anti-immigration, and a lot of misinformation, also using social media for
yeah.
disinformation and misinformation, which rallied a lot of people to vote for the wrong reasons,
Mm,
So this is happening in Japan. Of course, we knew it was, and we just need journalists, and we need fact checkers, and people to stay on top of it. And I was really encouraged on the Japan Times to read this response by one of the more ethical, like, human rights groups in Japan, saying the results of this election aren't something to feel let down about right now. Ipe Tori said, who's Solidarity Network for Migrants Japan. And he said, if they bring up these issues about foreign nationals in parliament, in government, that gives us an opportunity to fact check and talk about it with them, and to point out what's not true,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
to hopefully move forward with a more honest,
Mm.
transparent dialogue. So that was a really positive, very good
Mm.
response. That was nice
That's a
to
really nice reframe on it, actually. I think, it's very easy to when something like this happens to just sit and sort of grumble and feel very negative about it. But if we can reframe this as an opportunity, then, as you say, that let's see it that way and bring a positive mindset to it and see what we can do with that.
Now, journalist Jake Adelstein, he had a bit of fun with one of the disinformation rumors going around, was that foreigners were eating the cicadas,
What?
and so he called it Cicada Gate. And he said another more dangerous rumor was saying that foreigners are taking up 33% of the welfare, when in actuality it's under 3% of the welfare.
Wow.
And
Hmm.
studies have shown that a lot of foreign residents are actually paying more in and less out, because a lot of people end up moving away when they retire, or they
Right.
live in Japan forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it is really helping tax paying, working people. We're now at 3% foreign population living and working in Japan. So it's still a
Mm-hmm.
very small number, but definitely something we should be talking about and talking honestly
Yeah,
about, and
very
how
much so.
we have a diverse, inclusive Japan, right?
Mm-hmm. Works for everyone. Well, it benefits everyone. So, in the long term, I think, yes.
For sure.
We need
But
to,
the misinformation,
mm,
disinformation, it can really drum up a lot of
yeah.
bad feelings. So,
Mm-hmm.
on the positive side of the election, Japan has elected a record number of women to the
Brilliant.
upper house. So, for the first time, 42 female candidates were elected to the upper house. So, that is good news. It's a
That
very
is
positive.
definitely progress. Yes, good.
Now you had one more story about plugging. Tell us about plugging.
Right. So plogging, if you haven't heard of it, is sort of going out jogging while picking up rubbish, trash that you find along the way. I think it started in Sweden, but I had a wonderful conversation just before I left Japan last Friday with Ramakrishna Ganesh from Bangalore, who has started up plogging there. Well, a few years back, started up sort of a plogging movement there, Plog Run. You can see his website in the links. And it sort of started off as after an event, they sort of realized the event was creating lots of rubbish and went, okay, well, this is not good. We need to do something around that. Started clearing it up, found out about the plogging movement in Europe, went, okay, so we could do that here in India. And he just took it to a massive scale. So he's already got, well, their organization has already had one Guinness World Record for picking up the most, I think, in one session. Huge amounts collected. You can see the details on their website. They had Prime Minister Modi come out and support one of their events. So he's taken it all across India, and they're really having an impact and building awareness. He was saying that's really his mission, to build awareness of, the amount of sort of rubbish we're creating and the negative impact on the environment and on people as well. And through doing that, and through sort of getting people engaged in communities, and he's had huge success doing it in India. And he's just one of these people with just a wonderful sort of mind that just looks for big opportunities. And he's saying, okay, well, I want to take this global. If we could do it on this scale in India, what would happen if we could do this in every country around the world and get create a movement where people are aware and are picking up this? How much could we pick up actually and take out of the system and build awareness so that we're not putting as much, waste into the system in the first place? So he's looking for global partners on this. So connected him with, of course, my Mizu and some of the other organizations in Japan. And Tiffany, brilliant, wonderful to hear that you've been involved in that. So if you know other companies either or sort of organizations in Japan that want to get involved with this, or who would be sort of interested in supporting, and in other countries around the world as well, he's really keen to get this going. He's already got things in place. We're talking about Netflix documentary and stuff to track this. It's huge scale, really ambitious, but just so positive to see somebody just taking on a mission like this, just to have a great impact on the world. So
And
yeah,
that's
that
so
was such a nice.
inspiring, because
It really
anyone who's
was.
done a cleanup knows how overwhelming it is, right? And then just starting an initiative like this, especially India right now, they're really struggling with the heat, much more than we are in Japan.
Very much, yeah.
I hope they have some ice packs that they can use, especially running around and picking up trash. What a great service. But really, take care of yourself if you're out there doing that in the heat.
Yeah,
right?
very much so. Yeah.
Well, we'll end it there, Tove. We've gone a little bit over, but always a wonderful conversation. Thank you, everybody, for joining. It was wonderful to have some live comments today. And of course, if you're watching a replay, you can add your comments and questions below. Tove and I will make sure to respond. Thank you so much for joining, everyone.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks, Tove. Have a great time in England. Soak in the cool weather before you come back.
Recharging my cool batteries, definitely. Mm.
Take care, everyone. See you next time.